All right, welcome back to the third and final installment in this quality improvement trilogy, where we go over the 3 essential steps to launching a successful improvement project. So to recap, in the first episode, we talked about chartering. In the second episode, we talked about getting a data collection form together and how to set that up. And now we're going to discuss the PDSA cycle worksheet, which the example is in front of you. And this is essentially a template that one should use to organize how the project is going to go and what you're going to attempt to accomplish in a very finite period of time. So for orientation, PDSA stands for Plan, Do, Study, Act. And this worksheet is roughly divided into those components. So we've got a section down here for planning. So sort of on the left box over here, that is sort of just an opportunity for the project team to fill out data or observations from previous activities. And then over here, what you're going to do in response to what you just wrote in the left box. And so this kind of takes you through that process in a systematic way. So after you make the observations and you synthesize what happened before, and that could be sort of the historical context to the project, or the findings from a previous cycle, then you kind of put in the your actions in response to that, and they could be countermeasures or just a natural evolution of what you want to accomplish in the next period. And then flip it over. And on this side here, what we have our project teams do is that they just copy the bullet points from the right box of the plan, and they put it into these things, just essentially copy word for word. But this section allows the team to specifically assign those tasks to an individual. We definitely recommend doing this because there's an extra layer of accountability. And then the measure for the project, so kind of referencing back to that data sheet that we completed in step 2, how does this activity link into your ability to monitor those key measures? And importantly, for each PDSA cycle, you want to have a very finite or definite, cycle start date and a cycle end date. So keep to these dates, basically when you're going to launch all the efforts that are outlined here, and where you're going to check back in and call another meeting just to see how much progress you've made related to those items. And then after that, you kind of, on that sort of check-in meeting, you just write down what you found and how successful this particular cycle was and what worked, what didn't there. And then you make a determination down here, what you're going to do with the project. And there are kind of 3 general options. One is to adapt it for the next cycle. So make some changes, make some tweaks, and make it a little bit better based on the feedback and observations and data that you collected during this cycle. You can kind of choose to adopt it in its current form because, it's good enough, or you can abandon it because of either meeting sort of barriers that are intractable, or just it seems as if you're barking up the wrong tree. So for any reason, you can choose one of these 3 major options and proceed. If it is to adapt, then you would just fill out the same form for the next cycle and keep going on and on and on. So we have this in a PowerPoint template, and basically, practically speaking, all we do is just duplicate these slides in the same PowerPoint file, and there you have essentially running record of PDSA cycles all within the same PowerPoint file. And for how long the cycle should be, well, honestly, a good default is probably 1 month. And sometimes you can extend that based on sort of the tasks that you plan to do. So if it's something that's going to take a little bit longer, you can extend that. Or if you're going to be on vacation or something, feel free to extend that. And for, faster turnaround type things, you can certainly shorten the cycle time. But as a default, if you just have no clue, 1 month is a fairly reasonable duration to set. So for this project here, this project wiki, this is kind of a sample PDSA worksheet that I have filled out. So you can see I've recapped the aim for the project there, some observations, and then sort of the plan on the right lower. I have reproduced those plans and assigned it to myself. Yep. And then the associated measures are on that, are on the right. So yeah, basically at this point, once I post this video, we are done with this cycle. And after, in April, we'll come back and see how things did. And at that point, we can either choose to adapt the project, maybe add a little bit more production value, or just let it be. Because it just wasn't worthwhile to continue and invest more time and effort into it. But no matter what, we got 3 videos out of it, and hopefully project teams will at various points come and check this out for how to get their own project started. Okay, I had to make a quick cut there because I had to grab this from the trunk of the car. But this is the original plan, that we created in the charter for Project Wiki, and you'll see it's a lot more extensive, and there are many, many, many more bullet points. The PDSA cycle worksheet, these are kind of the small scale steps that ultimately might feed into this, which is sort of the ideal arc of the project. And so, if everything keeps going and we adapt and adapt and adapt and adapt, at some point it might reach this, but these are lofty ambitions, or these are, again, it's an ideal, right? So at some point we can study and say that, boy, there's just, this is kind of as good as we can get it. And if it's as good as we can get it, then down here, we just decide to adopt as is and reject the other later bullet points on this larger plan. And that's totally okay. The whole point of quality improvement is to adjust based on the data that you're getting. So be adaptable. Yeah, so that's kind of the key. So this is the last component that you need to get a good project going, and that is the PDSA cycle worksheet. For those folks at the hospital where I work, again, if any of this is confusing, feel free to reach out to the office, and we are happy to assist in getting these things sort of squared away for whatever idea that you have in mind. With that, that's it. So long. Adios. Bye-bye.